I did yesterday check back on my old videos from a year ago, and like my voice is really strong again. So it did take a little bit of time, a little bit of training, just normally the breath work, the sound work, so nothing very complicated. And yeah. So and I also have a little bit of a video still from my sound healing course, where she also had us work with for 1 hour or 1.5 with a Mexican sound healer that did do great breath work and sound exercises that were really helpful. And I've not really done those, but it just a little bit worked with what I learned. And then obviously I sang in the shower beautifully. And so it's great. It's back. I hear a little bit more harmonies because I've found the ranges. So I want to express my womb song, like the mother in me, the rootedness in me wants to express. It's actually yeah, it's also throat connected sound for me, what I feel. And then obviously I started with bringing the spiritual love through. This is easy, and that's where the harmony is already a little bit in play. And I found such good music and song, and yeah, it was so inspiring. I love not super perfect recordings. Like if you get like Britney Spears, she has the best recording. And like you a little bit lose her natural voice, except if it's a concert, then you have the natural voice back. And that's what I feel the most inspiration is when I hear the song sung and it comes out the way it comes out and not just with the electrical stuff, whatever. So I love everything about music, but just for me personally, I learn more from the purity of the voice. And so I found a few smaller artists and musicians who do, like, obviously they are good recordings and all, but they are not mastered. They, it is still natural voice, and that's where my inspiration kicks in. And then I'm gonna sing healing songs that are already old, or like take old harp melodies and add a few Reiki mantra, like just English, nice little additions. And then I'm also gonna do a little bit of inspiration around seasonal festivities, because I think there should be way more that celebrates the nature. For me personally, I found a few, and like a healing song is super easy, just repetitive, has a joyful melody. And then for me also, I love it a little bit connected to the folkiness, because the folk song is so much about the nature too, and they really get it. They get the heart centeredness and the enjoyment in the nature for me. And I'm just a little bit interested in those kind of music and song. And I'm so grateful that my voice is back. Just today a little bit sore, and then I remembered also yesterday with the videos, the first ones. Yeah, there are a few. I love to put a few of my painful keening songs on my Instagram too, because I feel good showing that side of my humanity too, and it is now really held in the song. So I don't feel shameful or too private to share this roughness and rough moments in my life, where like the grief, the anger, the pain is a little bit transforming into the melody and the love, and also the eternal love, the universe love, the God that loves, Goddess that loves us. So just the love that is. That's what I feel a little bit. when I'm in this prayerful field of expressing and like making any song into my keening practice, because it's ancient. You can make it your own. Just I always start with the intention. Like I usually get a song that I know well and that does express my emotionality well, you know. And then I just keep start singing, and then it kicks in, and it's this pain in the heart feeling, and then they get it in the song, and you're just literally like crying, actually crying the anger and the pain out, and and then that is so freeing, and then it's held with the spiritual intention, with the keen, um to transform it into the love that does exist behind all of the other emotions. And yeah, and then there are also like courses you can do around those kind of songs. They're a little bit rare, but in case anybody's interested, I'm gonna check on my Trello page. I did write a few course workshops down on another workshop, and it just feels so freeing to give in to this deep sorrow while it's still held with a long tradition, and like the king is never really exaggerating the grief, and it's not suppressing the grief. It's just weaving it into the nature. For me it feels like as if, yeah, a tune that I would sing after like 1 or 2 hours in the forest in a prayerful field, or like just in a sun bathing and a little meditation going, and then when my heart is nourished and I feel held with my surrounding, that is my natural surrounding, I feel like my voice and my heart, they want to express the melody, the love, the pain about the love lost. And that does help me ground back into the here now, because the emotionality is held with the song, which does not always need to be emotional, but in that case, I feel it. I feel it, and then I sing it, and then I feel better. And this is my favorite tool to work with huge amounts of grief. And I have to say that grief did really change my life. Like I'm like just with heartbreak, people tell you that. I don't know if you've heard it too, but when you're in love the first time and then your heart gets broken, it's never gonna be not the heart that was not broken. So you change, like your personality shifts. You become the person after the heartbreak. Like that's how deep the pain sometimes goes with heartbreak and betrayal. And you just get used to it. Like your heart will break a gazillion times in life. Just make it art. Just get used to it. Like I'm not somebody whose heart is closing down ever. Like I'm not a forgiver, but I'm also not in a heart centered place in my life ever. And yeah, it is getting easier, the heartbreak part, but the grief if somebody is lost forever, which is not betrayal. Sometimes it feels like betrayal, but it is the loss of a loved one that you will never see again. And there's this little despair that you need to give it to Mother Nature, them to Mother Nature again, and the love and the connectedness and the familiarity. And then you never know when grief hits you or how long or how hard. So I always have a little bit of energy problems when I'm in new acute kind of grieving, and I try to suppress it, but it does take longer. So if I just sit still and connect to the grief, I feel better. And if it is intense, just putting on the sad song list does help. And then also just singing it out and doing my own little keen, my own way helps. And then also have a keening playlist, which is so inspirational. And oh, and then also I feel like nice pictures help. And then I love the AI that they bring loved ones kind of back alive in videos. So, for example, the grandchild that misses their grandma, and then in the picture they hug, and it's so sweet, like it's so uplifting and cute. And just the artfulness around it does make my heart feel better too. Then also I've seen how people were woven into the everyday. So in the first time I lost someone, I felt like they will never be present with us ever again. And but it's not true. People like to talk about the ones who've been lost, especially on a good day. They say like, oh well, it would have been a nice day for the person that we lost, and then we all agree, and then we share a little bit of a memory, and it's just a nice way to remember and weave them into the everyday too. And I personally have an altar now. I've had my first in 2017, which with a newsletter that told me or like encouraged me to do that for around Christmas. Now that felt lovely, but I've not really known what is an altar and how to work with it. I've only known that from the churches, which obviously I did not think I'm creating with just a little towel and a candle. So, because it's a prayer field, like a church is a prayer field, it's ceremonial, holy space for connecting to the Holy Spirit. And so I just did my own little, I put it at the window, which I think is the best place, because there is this tradition that once a loved one has passed in the home, usually, typically people would die in their own home, in their own bed, like there was no other place, and you just leave the windows open, and you wish them good luck on their journey in that way. Obviously, if it's -20, you don't do that, but like if you feel like the memory of the loved one feels a little bit stuck, open the windows in their own home or in your home, whatever. Like you can do this as a ritual and just wish them good luck on their journey and see them like with angels or fairies or whatever you want. See them like connecting to the heavens and being helped by God. And so yeah, I feel good having the altar at my windowsill, and then I just like it's not for me. It didn't end up not being very personal in a way. It's just I wanted the space where like my grief and my remembrance is more held, and then I put on like an old candle from my grandpa that he got in a church once. That I will have that's the best symbol because they've been faithful. They felt held by the church. So this is a good symbol. And I have like old pieces that I found that reminds me of. I have crystals on there. I have something for smudging on there, so I can like cleanse the grief, the space where I personally have this um touchable um memories in a way. And then I also have a picture of me that reminds me of me, like but not of myself, like not from my own, like an art piece that I found that reminds me so much of my younger self that I feel like i've I've grown out of. But she's not dead or anything. It just I know how much, and I love to have her on there for healing too, and like how she felt like dying often with the trauma and depression and all of that. So I hold her there too dearly. And also she is like I lost her, like I had terrible experiences in my life recently, so I don't really feel like her in a lot of ways. um but she's obviously not dead. I just miss my 20s me that was more easy going, and I would laugh more. I'm more serious now, and my heart is constantly aching, but that's how it is. And then also I just added a few pictures that I found and that they might have liked, and I have a little bit of pieces of nature over there. Have an owl as a symbol because I think my grandma's spirit is like so much like owls, like just kind of like they're very with their own babies. They are very cuddly and they build